Good evening, dear students. A very warm welcome to all of you once again. In our previous lecture, we began exploring the timeless beauty of William Wordsworth's odd intimations of immortality from recollections of early childhood. Together, we traced his nostalgic reflections on childhood, nature, and fading divine light as we grow older. Today, we continue this poetic journey as we complete the remaining stanzas of the poem, diving deeper into Wordsworth's spiritual philosophy, rich symbolism, and his wavering faith in nature as a moral guide. So, get ready for another soulful session of detailed line by line explanation, thoughtful interpretation, and insightful literary discussion. So, let's open our minds and hearts once again to the enchanting world of the romantic poetry. Thou whose exterior semblance both belie thy soul's immensity. So Wordsworth is addressing the child, describing how the child's small, innocent outward appearance, the exterior semblance, that is, his the child's innocent outward appearance hides the immense divine soul within. Billy refers to it means to misrepresent. The body is tiny, but the soul is vast and eternal. So the child's uh, body is tiny, but the soul of a child is vast and eternal. So it is a reference to the idea that children are closer to the divine, having recently come trailing clouds of glory from God, as stated earlier in the poem, right? Thou best philosopher, who yet dost keep thy heritage, thou I among the blind. So the child is called the best philosopher. This best philosopher refers to the child, not because of the bookish knowledge, but because he intuitively understands divine truths. Thy heritage, it means it refers to the spiritual knowledge or divine essence of essence that the child self possesses. I among the blind, it means actually it's a metaphor which suggests that the child can perceive eternal truths that adults can't, because adults are blinded by worldly distractions, right? That deaf and silent reads the eternal deep, haunted forever by the eternal mind. So, though the child may seem silent or unaware, he intuitively reads or understands the deep and eternal truths of existence. So, the phrase eternal deep suggests the mysteries of the universe or divine knowledge. Haunted forever implies that the child's soul is constantly influenced or touched by the divine mind, which is God. Mighty prophet, seer blessed, whom those truths do rest. So Wordsworth elevates the child to the status of a prophet or a seer, someone who can see. A seer is someone who can see what others can't. So he believes, Wordsworth believes, that children naturally embody spiritual truths which grown-ups must strive all their lives to rediscover, right? Which we are toiling our lives to find in darkness, lost the darkness of the grave. So adults spend their entire lives searching for spiritual meaning, right? Yet often remain in ignorance or darkness. So the darkness of the grave symbolizes spiritual blindness, materialism, and forgetfulness of the soul's divine origin, right? Though thou over whom thy immortality broods like the day, and a master over a slave. So the child's immortality, uh, it means the child's connection to the eternal is ever present, hovering over him like a daylight, like a daylight over the darkness, right? So this metaphor actually suggests immortality, which governs his being, just as a master commands a slave, right? So the child is guided by this divine, divine presence. Uh, so it suggests the immortality govern his being. जैसे कि मास्टर कमांड करता है ना स्लेव को, मास्टर ओवर अ slave, just like that the child is guided by this divine presence, a presence which is not to be put by, though little child yet glorious in the might. So this divine presence, which is the soul's immortality, which can't be removed or denied in the child's early years, right? So the child is still in touch with God or the divine spirit, right? uh, ये जो लाइन है यहाँ पर, दो लिटिल चाइल्ड येट ग्लोरियस इन द माइट of heaven born freedom or on thy being's height. So uh, these line refers, despite being small, दो लिटिल चाइल्ड, मतलब जो बच्चा है वो लिटिल है साइज में, मतलब डिस्पाइट बीइंग स्मॉल, द चाइल्ड इज ग्लोरियस एंड पावरफुल, माइटी है वो, पावरफुल है, फिल्ड विद फिल्ड विथ फ्रीडम गिफ्टेड फ्रॉम हेवन, जो उसको फ्रीडम मिली है हेवन से, उससे गिफ्टेड है. Being's height refers to the soul's elevated state at this stage of life. Why with such earnest pains dost thou provoke the ears to bring the inevitable yoke? So Wordsworth questions here. He questions here why the child is in such a hurry to grow up. कि भाई क्या क्या ज़रूरत है उसको इतना बड़ा होने की, क्या जल्दी है बच्चे को बड़े होने की, जबकि अभी वो बच्चा है तो वो डिविनिटी से, वो गॉड के करीब है, इटर्निटी के करीब है, वो नेचर को जिस विजन से देखता है वो वही सच है. और बच्चों बच्चों को ना बहुत जल्दी होती है बड़े होने की. जब हम भी बच्चे थे तो हमें भी बहुत जल्दी थी बड़े होने की. तो क्वेश्चन यहाँ पर वर्ड्सवर्थ का यही है कि वो बच्चों को इतनी जल्दी होती क्यों है बड़े होने की, जबकि बड़े हो गए कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है बल्कि नुकसान ही है. जैसे कि उनकी ये जो विजन है दुनिया को देखने की, जो रियलिटी वो देख पाते हैं, और जो क्लोजनेस है टू द गॉड, वो बच्चों के पास है. अगर वो बड़े हो जाएंगे तो उनका नुकसान हो जाएगा कि वो विजन उनका कहीं खो जाएगा, डिसअपियर हो जाएगा. तो ही क्वेश्चंस व्हाई द चाइल्ड इज इन सच अ हरी टू ग्रो अप, or why the child is in hurry to invite the burdens, the yoke का मतलब है burdens of adulthood. तो क्यों उसको इतनी जल्दी है बड़े होने की, क्या उसको इतनी पड़ी है कि वो इनवाइट कर रहा है कि उसको एडल्टहुड का बर्डन मिले. बच्चों को बहुत जल्दी होती है बड़े होने की, बट उन्हें पता नहीं होता कि बड़े होकर एक्चुअली बहुत ज़्यादा बर्डन हो जाता है, पढ़ाई का, करियर का, जॉब का, फ्यूचर की टेंशन हो जाती है. जॉब होती है तब भी फ्यूचर की टेंशन होती है, नहीं होती तो और ज़्यादा टेंशन होती है, काम का बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर होता है, कंपटीशन इतना ज़्यादा है, मतलब बहुत दिक्कतें हो जाती है. जब हम बड़े होते हैं, हम बच्चे होते हैं तो लाइफ बहुत ही सॉर्टेड होती है हमारी. सो inevitable yoke refers to the duties, responsibilities and the loss of spiritual innocence. ये तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आपके ऊपर एक तो ड्यूटीज़ आएंगी, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ आएंगी. सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट, अगर आप बड़े होते हैं तो जो आपका स्पिरिचुअल इनोसेंस है वो ख़त्म हो जाता है. द लॉस ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल इनोसेंस दैट कम विथ एज, तो वो ख़त्म हो जाएगा आपका. दस ब्लाइंडली विच दाई ब्लेसनेस एट स्ट्राइफ. सो he asked, Wordsworth asked, by rushing into adulthood, the child is fighting against his own divine happiness. So, blessedness is the child's, it means child's innate spiritual grace, and he is unknowingly waging war against it by desiring to grow up, right? So, next lines. Full soon thy soul shall have her earthly freight, and custom lie upon thee without weight. So these lines refer to, um, soon the child's pure soul will be burdened. है ना, फुल सून दाई सोल, वो बच्चे को कह रहा है कि जो दाई मतलब होता है योर, कि तुम्हारी जो सोल है जब तुम बड़े हो जाओगे तो जो तुम्हारी ये प्योर सोल है वो फुल हो जाएगी, मतलब इट विल बी फिल्ड विद बर्डन, विद वर्ल्ड, इट विल बी बर्डनड विद वर्ल्डली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी। जो ये है ना अर्थली फ्रेट, इसका मतलब होता है रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, वर्ल्डली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मतलब दुनियादारी, अगर हम आम भाषा में बोले तो। सो वो कह रहे हैं कि सून द चाइल्ड्स प्योर सोल विल बी बर्डनड विद वर्ल्डली रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज विच इज़ earthly freight. So a custom and custom lie. So the custom which represents social norms, social routines, which will weigh heavily on him, dimming his divine light, right? Heavy as frost and deep almost as life. So this final image is striking here. Custom and worldly conditioning will settle on the soul like a heavy frost, right? Heavy as frost. So the worldly condition will settle on the soul like a heavy frost, cold and deadening. So the weight will be as deep as life itself, implying that growing up is a kind of spiritual loss. So this stanza, uh, through this stanza we can see that Wordsworth views the child as a divine being. He sees a child as a philosopher, a prophet, and a seer, still deeply connected to God, right? And connected to God and eternal truths. But tragically, this connection fades as the child grows, right? With the age comes habit, materialism, and social conformity, which darken and suppress the soul's light. So, the poet William Wordsworth mourns this loss and gently urges us to remain in touch with the inner child, which is our spiritual self, right? Now, the next lines are, so oh joy that in our embers is something that not life. So Wordsworth rejoices in the fact that even in the remnants of life, which is our embers, it's a remnant of life, embers का मतलब है that something of that earlier divine spark still survive. So embers symbolizes the fading warmth of youthful inspiration in older age, yet something is still alive within. So it's a hopeful realization that all is not lost with maturity, right? That nature yet remembers what was so fugitive. So uh, nature, the eternal spirit that nurtures us, still remembers the fleeting vision of childhood. Fugitive का मतलब यहाँ पर है transient or fleeting, the soul's divine connection in infancy which may fade, but the nature retains its memory and keeps it alive in us. So nature is personified here as having memory and care for our lost divine essence, right? The thought of our past years in me doth breed per- perpetual benediction. So it reflects on earlier stage of life which filled the poet with a lasting sense of blessing, that is perpetual benediction. So it shows that memory itself can be sacred, a source of inner peace and reverence, even if those days are gone. So it's not the moments themselves, but their lasting spiritual impression that offers joy. Not indeed for that which is most worthy to be blessed. So here Wordsworth clarifies that his gratitude is not for the not for what most people might think, right? uh, Most people might think worthy of the blessings such as joy, liberty, or play. So he shifts Wordsworth shifts his focus from innocent pleasures to something deeper, right? Delight and liberty, the simple creed of childhood, whether busy or a rest. So the simple creed, इसका मतलब होता है belief system of childhood. So the simple creed is to is to live freely and joyfully. डिलाइट एंड लिबर्टी, मतलब डिलाइट का मतलब हो गया जॉयफुली, एंड विद लिबर्टी मतलब हो गया फ्रीली. सो द सिंपल क्रीड, द बिलीफ सिस्टम ऑफ चाइल्डहुड इज टू लिव फ्रीली एंड जॉयफुली, वेदर एक्टिव और आइडल. सो चिल्ड्रन, the children live naturally without self consciousness or intellectual doubt. So their life is spontaneous delight and freedom, right? With new fleshed hope still fluttering in his breast. So the child is filled with new फ्लैश्ड होप. न्यू फ्लैश्ड होप, फ्लैश्ड का मतलब हम ले सकते हैं बॉर्न से. सो हम कह सकते हैं कि द चाइल्ड इज फिल्ड विथ न्यू बॉर्न hopes. The child is filled with newborn hopes, fluttering like a young bird, who is the young bird which is learning to fly, that is new fledged. तो न्यू फ्लैश्ड हो गया जो छोटा पक्षी होता है, जो वो नया नया उड़ना सीख रहा होता है. सो the imagery is here, and the image expresses the fragile optimism of youth, and which is ever fresh and uncertain, yet full of life, right? Not for these I raise the song of thanks and praise. So Wordsworth repeats that his deep gratitude, thank बोल रहा है ना वो, songs of thanks. So he repeats that his deep gratitude is not for these external pleasures of youth, but, and not for innocence or joy or playfulness. Actually, he is pointing to something less obvious but more profound, right? But for those obstinate questioning of sense and outward things. So here we can see that Wordsworth is grateful for the spiritual doubts and deep and persistent questions that arises as we grow, especially about the limits of physical reality. uh, Obstinate questioning, uh, it means it's a philosophical struggles, like it's a philosophical struggle like who am I, what is life, or why does joy fade. So this is the obstinate questionings, right? And these questions push us beyond the surface pleasures toward deep and understanding. Falling from us, vanishings. So this line refers to the gradual loss of childhood's divine vision. So we experience a falling away from that earlier grace, like dreams fading upon walking. Vanishings refers to those mysterious losses that can't be fully explained. The inevitable fading of intuitive spiritual connections, right? Blank misgivings of a creature. So Wordsworth describes here the confusion and the fear that come with growing self-awareness. Blank misgivings का मतलब यहाँ पर हो गया something which are uh, some things which are formless, doubts and feeling of unease. It's a sense that something precious is missing, and creature refers, it suggests human vulnerability. We are finite beings, feeling lost in an infinitive universe, right? So this stanza, the whole stanza, through this Wordsworth moves from mourning to मोर करने की जगह वो क्या कर रहा है, उसका जो फोकस है वो शिफ्ट हो रहा है टू द लॉस ऑफ, मतलब जो उसका वो मॉर्न कर रहा है ना इस बात पे, टू द लॉस ऑफ चाइल्डहुड डिवाइन लाइट. तो वहाँ से जो उसका जो फोकस है वो शिफ्ट हो गया. वो किस तरफ बात कर रहा है, टू द सेलिब्रेशन दैट क्वाइट सर्वाइवल ऑफ द स्पिरिचुअल अवेयरनेस इन द चाइल्डहुड. He rejoices not in youthful pleasures themselves, but in the lingering questions that and mysterious yearnings that keep the soul connected to something higher. So these questions, though painful, but they are sacred because they indicate the soul still seeks, remembers, and longs for its divine sources. Right? Now the next stanza. So, moving about in worlds not realized. So this line describes the soul of the child who is not fully conscious of the higher spiritual world he inhabits but moves within it unknowingly. So the world's not realized, uh, it is a divine dimensions that the child is instinctively connected to but can't yet comprehend. So it's a state of unconscious grace. ये unconscious, sorry for the handwriting. Right. So unconscious grace है यहाँ पर. Now the next line is high instincts before which before which are sorry high instincts before which are moral nature. So and did tremble like a guilty thing surprised. So as adults, these two line refers, it means as adults we have lost the natural connection. So our mortal nature mortal nature is intimidated by these higher instincts because they expose how far we have fallen. So we tremble like a guilty thing surprised. It's a simile from Shakespeare's Hamlet the ghost scene. ये जो लाइन है ना ये वहाँ से ली गई है. It's a simile, tremble like a guilty thing surprised. It's taken from Shakespeare's Hamlet, from the ghost scene, expressing shame or awe before a truth we have forgotten, right? So these pure instincts in childhood are so divine that even our adult selves feel guilty or unworthy before them, right? But for those first affections, for those shadowy recollections, so now the poet shifts from instincts to early emotions and fate memories. The first affection and the shadowy recollection are the fragments of our divine past, dim, which is dim but powerful. So they are cherished because they connect us to a time when we were closer to God and nature, right? So, which be they what they may, and yet the fountain light of all our day. So, whatever their true nature, these early memories are the original source of inspiration in our life, right? So, fountain light का मतलब ये एक मेटाफर है फॉर द ओरिजिन और सोर्स ऑफ एनलाइटनमेंट एंड दे शेप हाउ वी सी, how we feel and experience the world even when faint or forgotten, right? Next line, are yet a master light of all our seeing. So these spiritual memories are not just sources of inspiration, they are the master light, right? They are master light which guides all perception. So they shape how we interpret reality itself, offering spiritual insight beneath the surface of things, right? Uphold us, cherish, and have power to make our noisy ears. Our noisy ears seems moments in the being of the eternal silence truth that wake to perish never, right? So this deep these deep truths supports us emotionally and spiritually, making our loud chaotic lives feel small compared to the calm vastness of eternity. So, noisy ears, it refers to busy and distracted life. Eternal silence refers to the timeless and divine presence. And these memories put life in perspective, connecting us with something beyond time. So, these spiritual intuition, the truths that wake, it means these spiritual intuition and memories are immortal truths. They may wake, the truths may wake, the truths may wake in us through memories of reflection, and they never truly die. Perish का मतलब होता है die, so they to perish never, it means they never truly die. So this might fade in awareness, but they remain alive within the soul, right? Which neither listlessness nor mad endeavor, nor man nor boy, nor all that is at enmity with joy can utterly abolish or destroy. So, no force, no force, not laziness. Listlessness का मतलब है, listlessness का मतलब है laziness. So, and mad endeavor का मतलब है desperate distraction. So they, तो यहाँ पे ना हम force की बात करेंगे. So ना force से, ना ही laziness यानी कि listlessness से, ना ही mad endeavor that is desperate distraction, nor even the natural loss of joy through age and sorrow can destroy these divine truth. They are indestructible parts of the soul, impervious to anything and opposes joy and innocence, right? Hence, in a season of calm weather, though inland far we be. So even during a peaceful moment, a calm weather का मतलब हो गया a peaceful moment in life, far from the literal and spiritual sea, right? So we can reconnect with that divine source if the mind is calm and receptive. So inland in far we be का मतलब हो गया, it's a metaphor for spiritual distance from origin and God, right? Our souls have sight of the immortal sea, which brought us hither. So, in such moment, our souls can glimpse the eternal origin, the immortal sea from which we came. The immortal sea is heaven or the God. इसके दो मतलब है यहाँ पर. पहला है heaven, जो कि क्या है, गॉड या गॉड का घर भी बोल सकते हो आप. सो ब्रॉट अस हीटर, हीटर का मतलब होता है हीथर, हीथर बोलते हैं इसको, इसका मतलब होता है हेयर. सो इसका मतलब होता है आर बर्थ ऑन अर्थ इज फ्रॉम द डिवाइन ओरिजिन. सो दिस सी इज पावरफुल मेटाफर फॉर द सोल्स इटर्नल होम, right? Can in a moment travel thither and see the children sport upon the shore. So our imagination, इसका मतलब होता है देयर, ये archaic वे है हेयर और देयर का एक्चुअली. सो आर इमेजिनेशन और सोल कैन इंस्टेंटली रिटर्न टू द realm of in memory or meditation. So we can envision children, the children who is who are symbols of purity and innocence, playing by the sea. Sea is um, sea is the symbol of the divine. So it suggests a returning to the spiritual innocence and internal joy, right? And here the mighty waters rolling even more. So the final line of the stanza emphasize this divine origin is eternal and unending. The mighty waters, which symbolize divine presence and or immortality, continue to the roll rolling evermore, which is unaffected by time. So they are always calling, always present, and even if we forget. So this stanza, yes, this stanza is a in this deeply mystical section. Through this stanza, Wordsworth celebrates how our childhood instincts and memories, though faint in adulthood, and they are sacred roots of all wisdom and perception. These truths are indestructible, indestructible, sustaining us through life's confusion and distraction. In quiet moments, our soul can still reach back to its divine origin, experiencing visions of innocence and unceasing roll of the eternal sea that birthed us. Right? Now, the next stanza. Then sing, ye birds, sing, sing a joyous song, and let the young lambs bound as to tables sound. So the poet urges nature to rejoice. He urges the birds to sing joyfully. He urges to young lambs that they should leap as if dancing to a tabor. टेबर मैंने कल भी बताया था आपको, स्मॉल ड्रम का जो साउंड होता है, एक छोटा सा ड्रम का, जब उसको हम बजाते हैं तो जो साउंड आता है दैट इज़ टेबर. सो टेबर, सॉरी, टेबर का साउंड है इनके. टेबर का मतलब होता है स्मॉल ड्रम, तो उसका जो साउंड है. सो ही अर्जेस birds to sing joyfully and the young lambs to leap on as if they are dancing to a tabor. So this is an image of springtime celebration filled with youthful energy and music. We in thought will join your throng, ye that pipe, ye that play. So although the poet is no longer a child, but he will mentally and emotionally participate in nature's joyous celebration. Pipe and play. Ye that pipe, ye that play. So pipe and play refers to those who express joy through music and harmony. So music and harmony, possibly birds, shepherds, and metaphorically innocent beings. So Wordsworth wants to unite spiritually with this pure joy, even if physically distanced from it. Yea, that through your hearts today feel the gladness of May. So these two lines addresses those, especially the children and the creatures, who feel genuine joy and renewal or in spring, in the month of May. So their joy is instinctive and heartfelt, untouched by the philosophical reflection or sorrow. So it represents pure and innocent happiness, right? What though the radiance which was once so bright be now forever taken from my sight? So Wordsworth acknowledges the loss of the intense spiritual and emotional clarity he had as a child. Radiance का मतलब है यहाँ पर the spiritual glow or the vision of the childhood forever taken. Forever taken इसका मतलब है he understands it will never return fully. So this is a sorrowful recognition of against and lost innocence, right? Though nothing can bring back the hour of splendor in the grass, of glory in the flower. So these lines are famous. uh, Wordsworth laments that he can't relive the moment of intense beauty and spiritual awe he once felt. So splendor in the grass and glory in the flower, they both are metaphor. Actually they are metaphors for transient beauty and youthful wonder. So those moments are gone forever, हमेशा के लिए वो जा चुके हैं. And he accepts it with emotional depth. We will grieve not, rather find strength in what remains behind. So rather than mourning the loss, मतलब लॉस के पीछे मॉर्न करने से अच्छा है, पोएट ने क्या चूज़ किया. ही चूजेस टू फाइंड रेजिलियंस एंड मीनिंग इन वॉट स्टिल एग्जिस्ट. कि जो बीत गया उस पर अब दुख, अब ग्रीव क्या रखना है. मतलब उसने ग्रीव करने की जगह क्या फाइंड किया है, एक तरीका कि जो अभी बच्चा है हमारे पास, जो स्टिल एग्जिस्ट कर रहा है, हम इम्पोर्टेंस दें, उसी में हम रेजिलियंस को ढूंढें. और वो क्या चीज़ें हैं, मतलब वो जो स्ट्रेंथ है जो बच गया है उसमें हम, मतलब स्ट्रेंथ ढूंढे जो कुछ भी बच गया है. और वो क्या चीज़ें हैं, मेमोरी, विजडम एंड इमोशनल डेप्थ विच इज़ गेन्ड फ्रॉम experience. So this is a mature and hopeful turn of the poet, and this is a philosophical acceptance. अभी तक पूरी पोयम में वो सिर्फ कंप्लेंट ही कर रहा था कि जब वो बच्चा था तो उसका विजन अलग था, बच्चों का विजन अलग होता है, बच्चों को क्यों जल्दी होती है बड़े होने की. लेकिन अब यहाँ से उसने जो चीज़ खो गई उस पर दुखी होने की जगह उसने एक नया तरीका ढूंढा है। और वो तरीका ये है कि जो चीज़ें रहती हैं, जो अभी भी एग्जिस्ट करती है, उनको इम्पोर्टेंस दी जाए, उसी में ही रेजिलियंस और उनका ही मीनिंग ढूंढा जाए, right? In the primal sympathy which having been must ever be. So he finds solace in the primal sympathy, which is the deep and instinctive connection between human beings and nature. Though faded, it once existed and therefore can never be entirely lost, right? So its past presence ensures its eternal imprint of the on the soul, right? In the soothing thoughts that spring out of the human suffering. So even sufferings brings wisdom, right? And compassion. So there is a beauty in how pain leads to growth and healing. So the poet recognizes a kind of spiritual peace, a soothing thought, um, that arises from enduring sorrows, in faith that looks through death. So this line actually points to spiritual belief in immortality or life beyond death. Truth actually allows one to see the past, the fear, and finality of death. So it's a comforting religious or philosophical idea that gives meanings to life's losses. So in years that bring the philosophical mind, so as we age, in years as we age, we gain what? We gain a philosophical mind. It means we gain wisdom and acceptance. So time brings philosophical mind, which is calm, reflective understanding. So it replaces the passion of youth with depth and serenity. It allows us to find peace and despite life's sorrow. So stanza this whole stanza, uh, through this through this stanza, Wordsworth honestly mourns the losses of the intense spiritual connection he had with nature as a child. But instead of despairing, instead of hopeless, he chooses to find hope and strength in what remains, which are sympathy, faith, memory, sufferings, lessons, and philosophical reflection. So this passage offers a mature vision of joy and acceptance, where beauty still exists, not in innocence but in understanding. Now the next stanza is, oh ye and oh ye fountains, meadows, hills, and groves, forbode not any severing of our loves. So Wordsworth addresses nature directly here. The fountains, meadows, जो grass fields होती हैं वो, hills and the groves, तो उनको ये directly address कर रहा है. He begs them, actually he begs them not to fear or predict a separation in their bond, right? So though his perception of nature has changed, his love remains unbroken. जो इनका लव है वो अनब्रोकन है, उसको अनब्रोकन ही रहने दे. ये ऐसा प्रे कर रहा है नेचर से. ही इज़ अफर्मिंग हिज कनेक्शन डिस्पाइट द इमोशनल एंड स्पिरिचुअल शिफ्ट्स with age, right? Yet in my heart of hearts, I feel your might. So in the deepest part of his soul, he still feels the power of nature, right? Even if he no longer sees it with the same wonder as in childhood, so nature's influence over him is profound and lasting. I only have the relinquished one delight, to live beneath your more habitual sway. So he says, he has let go of one kind of delight, the spiritual ecstasy of childhood, but in exchange he now lives under nature's steady and habitual influence. So this is a more mature and enduring kind of love, which is not dependent on vision or imagination alone, right? So I love the brooks which down their channels fret, even more than when I tripped lightly as they. So he appreciates brooks का मतलब होता है streams more now when he was young, right? So fret का मतलब यहाँ पर है to ripple or to rush with energy. So as a child he used to run freely with tripped lightly like them. right? But now his love has grown deeper, more thoughtful, but not less, right? The innocent brightness of newborn day is lovely yet. So he still finds the beauty in the freshness of morning, even though he no longer sees the divine visions of a childhood. But morning still brings peace for him. The morning still bring joy for him, and there is still beauty in the ordinary. अब उसको वो एक्स्ट्रॉर्डनरी विजन नहीं दिखता है, बट जो उसे ऑर्डिनरी विजन दिखता है उसमें भी उसको ब्यूटी दिख रही है. The clouds that gather round the setting sun do take a sober coloring from an eye that had keeper kept watch over men's mortality. So as the sun sets, a cloud takes on a somber uh, on a somber hue. He uses Wordsworth uses his imagery to reflect how his own perception has changed with age. His eye his eye is now sober. उसकी जो आई है वो सोबर है, मतलब उसका जो विजन है, आई मतलब विजन जो है उसका वो सोबर है, experienced है and has seen death, sorrow and human fragility. So this deeper awareness colors his vision, as he no longer sees just beauty but also the truth in transience, right? Another race had been the and the other palms are worn, so the life moves on. New generation, another race से मतलब है यहाँ पर new generation arise and other wins reward are the palms, मतलब और दूसरी generation आ गई और दूसरे उन्होंने palms यानी कि जो rewards उन्होंने जीते हैं. Palms actually it's a symbols of victory, right? So he recognizes the passing of time, and now human experience shift with each age. So he actually accepts that he is no longer in the race of youth. अब वो youth में तो नहीं है, words, but that doesn't diminish his value, right? अब ये last lines है, इसमें ये thank कर रहा है. Thanks to human heart by which we live, thanks to its tenderness, its joys and fears. So Wordsworth expresses his gratitude. He says thanks for the human heart, our source of emotion and connection. It is through the heart's tenderness and happiness, joys, and even the fears that we truly live. So these feelings of tender joy and fear. So these feelings make us human and allow us to experience meaning and depth in life. The last two lines of the poem: to me, the meanest flowers that blows can give, thought that do often lie too deep for tears. So even the simplest flowers, the meanest flowers that blows का मतलब है the simplest flowers, can stir within him profound thoughts, right? So these thoughts are so deep. These thoughts are so deep and reflective that they go beyond even the power of tears. So it shows that his maturity brings not just a loss but a deeper emotional and spiritual awareness here. So in this stanza concluding stanza, Wordsworth accepts that he has lost the innocent wonder of childhood, but he doesn't despair. He doesn't lose his hope. Instead, he finds a deeper connection with nature. His wisdom gained through experience. He found joy, the happiness in small and quiet details. He got the strength in human emotions. He found the peace in memory and philosophical insight. So this is a hopeful and thankful ending to a poem that begins with a loss. तो लॉ शुरू जब हुई थी पोएम, वो एक लॉस से हुई थी कि हमारा जो विजन है, इनोसेंट विजन जो था डिविनिटी को देखने का, वो लॉस हो चुका है. लेकिन ख़त्म ये थैंकफुल नेचर के साथ हुआ है. पोएट का जो माइंड सेट है वो काफ़ी थैंकफुल है. Wordsworth shows that growing older, that doesn't mean losing beauty. It means finding it in new and meaningful ways, right? सो बहुत ही लंबी पोएम थी, बट वी हैव फिनिश्ड इट इन 2 लेक्चर्स। ये भी एक जीत है हमारी, हमने इतनी बड़ी पोएम को हमने ख़त्म किया है। सो and with that, we conclude our journey through odd intimations of immortality from the recollections of early childhood. So it's a deep, reflective, and soul stirring poem by William Wordsworth. Through its lines, we explored the themes of memory, childhood, nature, and and the enduring spirit of the human soul. So this poem reminds us that while youthful innocence may fade, the wisdom, emotional depth we gain over time are no less beautiful. Even the simplest moments in nature can awaken thoughts that lie beyond the reach of words or tears. So, thank you for staying with me through this enriching discussion. In our next session, we will begin reading another beautiful poem by William Wordsworth, where his love for nature and his poetic imagination once again shine through. Until then, take care, keep the spirit of poetry alive in your heart. Thank you.